Hello everyone, me again, it's Heider. Nice to see you again on another montage video this time. I have been really busy with other work and stuff, and also busy on the Kronos. You've probably seen the videos, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Interesting videos on the Kronos I've done earlier, but when things get really stressful, I tend to play music instead. So this video is about making music, and I have not really switched on the instrument. Maybe 2 or 3 times after my last video I've recorded for the montage. But this time we're going to talk about the another element of why really you would buy such an instrument. This is the Montage M. And you might have seen my previous videos on what it does in terms of the capabilities of the instrument, which is great. We've done the scenes in my previous videos. We've done sampling. We've done rhythms. So lots all sorts of things. But obviously, the more we go along, the more we progress, the more stuff I either discover or like to share it with you, or like you to see what I've done, and maybe someone like to benefit from what I do. I mean, I'm not by any means a musician, but I love to to get under the hood and then lift this stuff up. So before I start on the instrument, I think it's not boring, believe me, but it's really interesting, really important for me to share fundamentals on the FM sound and how the FM works. So I'm going to first take you to my PC over there, just to show you how things work on an FM side. What's FM? How FM works. Not too detailed. We're not going to do things like envelopes and egg RPs and all that kind of stuff. EGRP. It's just basically basics on the FM and why. What would you expect to do for FM to produce sound? So have a look at this section first, and I'll come back to carry on with this one. Today's video, right? Okay. Before we carry on, I understand this video is about an hour and a half, which is maybe quite a lot to watch. But I wanted to highlight that for the next 26 minutes, I'll be talking about the fundamentals of the FM sound. Practically done on a PC. And how you sample and how the FM is affected and all that kind of stuff. If you wanna understand how that works, it would be great, because it will really help you to understand how the fundamentals behind making an FM-X sound or any FM sound. If you want to skip and you're only interested in the montage side of it, you can skip the next 26 minutes. So you've been warned. See you in a bit. We're going to focus mostly on the frequency modulation, or FM sounds, how to make an FM sound. Obviously, FM is an equation, and to a lot is a mystery. Many don't like to go near it because there's a lot of things to do. But today, hopefully, in this video, you're going to demystify a lot about it. I might make more videos on more parameters coming down the line, but I think today's video, we're just going to cover the basics on how you can make a sound out of FM and what to understand and how the whole thing works. So to begin with, let's ask you a quick question. Have you ever connected a battery to a speaker and wondered why the speaker doesn't sound when you connect power to it? Because usually when you connect a battery to anything, it just powers up and you hear something out or see something out. But in this instance, connecting a battery to a speaker will only give you a tick if you're lucky to hear it. And that's it. You'll hear nothing afterwards. The reason is because, just to explain this whole thing up, the speaker is made out of a little, imagine this is a speaker. You got the coil surrounding here. You got a little magnet inside this bit, and then as you apply power to it, you got that little diaphragm being pushed out or in, depending on the polarity. So if you if you plus and minus like this, it'll suck it all in. if you reverse the battery, it'll push it all out. That sort of thing. That's the anatomy of it, the analogy of it. But for DC, if you just keep holding it there, it'll just suck it in and wait. Just does nothing. It'll just, that's why you hear that tick for. Either way, connect it. But if you just, take it, just in and out, reconnect to things many times, you'll be able to hear it zzz, like that, like a zzz or hissing or something. But obviously, you need to be very fast to do this. Now, how fast? We're going to touch on that now today, and we're going to explain how this whole thing works. So hopefully, my video should hopefully cover how the FM sounds work. So in this screen in here I have is a blank. So this is my sound editor. You can see the center line here, the green center line, is the sample, and obviously the white is the limit on top and bottom. But here is the sample, and it is a flat sample. So if I just try to play that, you can see that line is moving, but nothing is happening. It's just blank samples, flat, nothing. But if I take somewhere in the middle, say here, and then zoom down, I'm scrolling my mouse wheel, zooming in as I'm going along, until I see those little dots, right? Now, these dots are the tiniest elements within that sample. So these are what makes the sound up. So imagine, or not imagine, between every dot and another dot is a time, obviously, as you know. So let's, for the argument's sake, assume for a while that between each one and the other one is 1 millisecond. Let's assume for the argument's sake, right? So 1 millisecond, so we have that, it'll play this, wait for 1 millisecond, play the other one, and then so forth. And that carries on until the end. Now, it's called sampled at 1 millisecond, right? Or obviously, if you do the math, you can say at this kilohertz, which is 1/t. So, if I were to make a sound of this, or before I make a sound, just to come back to the sampling bit, if I push more dots within the same time, so imagine in here, so if we count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so let's say about 30 of these dots on the screen. If I can pack 300 on the screen, then it's a clearer sample, it's a higher quality sample, it's a higher frequency sample, that sort of thing. So with this, as we're working on now, my selection from here to there is so tiny that the length won't even show it. But let's focus on this one. So let's assume I'm gonna edit the sound and now push this dot up like that. Okay, so now I have created a vibration in the thing, in the sound. So if you imagine, I only pushed that dot up, but I'm not seeing any. Why am I seeing all the others changed? I mean, to be honest with you, it is correct in a sound instance, because when you try to take the battery to the speaker, connect it, and then release it, the diaphragm is not going to just come back and then stop there. It'll probably come back and then a little bit vibrate and then it comes up. It's just physics, how it works. So that representation is actually correct, so it's good. So if I take this up and do that one thing the opposite way, and let's just do some slight modifications to it, and then come up with something of our own thing. So just like this, just editing some bits, and that one too. So if I just do that, take that down like this, take it down like that. So now I've just created, like a heartbeat kind of thing. So if I just try to do this and play that once, just once, hear that tick? Did you hear it? Right, if I play it constantly in a loop, there. So now what's happening is we are looping the sound across So it's coming up from here, ending, and then come back, and then come, you know, in a looped way. So that is our first sample of sound. Obviously, it's not something we can work with, but it's not something we can. Obviously, you can play it if you like. It's not a big deal, but it's just meaningless. It's just a little sample of the sound. And if I add a little more depth to it, so let's just take another thing, add some stuff up, you know, take things there, do, you know, some, you know, just be creative with stuff. Come on, push up. Yeah, there we go. So now we've created things in here, and yeah, that's fine. So if I play this up now, it'll be a better sample. There, right? Now you can see that the sample, because it's going from the beginning of the white box until the end, and it keeps going back into loop into here. Notice, because in that box there's so many changes, it is defined as a high frequency sample because there's a lot of changes happening within that little time frame. So if I would to kind of push that line up, so I'm just zoomed out, and if I push that line to be here, for example, right, let's extend it a bit more, there. So if I push that here, now notice, because that white boundary that I have in here, because there's not many changes in here, it'll be considered as a lower frequency sample. So if I play that down, you know, even though it didn't change any of that, it'll sound different. Watch this. Right, now why is that? If I were to go back into where I was, right, and lower it down again. Yeah. Do you see that? That is because the number of changes within a block is actually being reduced. Doesn't matter where the dots are, here, there, up, down, doesn't matter, makes no difference. If it's that many dots within that thing, it's actually a low frequency sample. Or low frequency sample. So this is how the system kind of generates when you play keys, and makes a bit different. So if I just play this now, and I reduce the line slightly, bit by bit, gradually, you'll see the thing changes as if I'm actually doing keys. Obviously, I'm not perfect, so I'm not going to get exactly on the key itself, but obviously it'll be out of tune. Hear this up. So if I do that, now increase, 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 increase. Yeah. Obviously it gets to a point where you are eating off the sample, which, you know, depending on how you sampled and how, you know, what your instrument's capable of. So now you can see the difference in, you know, the high frequency, low frequency kind of thing. So the more changes you pack in one time frame, the obviously the higher quality the sound will be, or the higher frequency will be. And that what makes up the sound. So that's the part one of what we're trying to discuss, or trying to come to. Now, that whole thing obviously is just a little drop in the sea of the equation. We're not going to spend too much time on explaining everything about FM and AM and all that kind of stuff, but I just wanted to explain that side of the equation to make people aware of this is how the sound is made. Now, if you understand that, then great, because now if you're trying to play in FM, if you the most basic form of an FM sound in any instrument cannot be a flat line, because that will sound nothing. It has to be a sine. Something up and down. So a sine, a saw, a square wave, has to be a wave up and down, and then it comes up. And now the changes in that wave will give you the different sound characteristics later on. And we'll come to that now. So if I select all that stuff, so this is my time here, select all of it and delete. And now I'm going to record my own sound, you know, saying something, and this is how you're going to break it down, and that will make more sense now. So record. Right, so obviously I've got it right at the end, so let's just take the end bit. Good, that's it, that's what I want. So taking this bit here and then till, where is it gone, this bit there. Good. So now I'm going to trim this, which means I'm going to crop it or get rid of the rest. I'm just going to keep the white bits. So Control T. Now we got the thing here that we want. So if I go into Effect and then Amplify it, calculate it, and then Amplify there. So now, as you can see, if I play that, yeah, the reason why I get that little ticks because as we loop, you probably know this already. Yeah, so just Control T again, that's fine. Good, okay, so now, if you notice on the graph in here, you should see that the outer section is a kind of a sine wave, right? It's not perfect, not clean. Let me just go back, undo something. I just wanted to kind of make that longer so we can see it, you know, even better. Yeah, I think that would make more sense. Let's just double check. Yeah, that would be better. So Control T that instead. And we are going to amplify this, as we said, calculate and go. Yeah, that gives a clearer understanding. Okay, good. So if you look at the bits on the wave, you should be able to see sine here. So that's the outer section where my mouse is actually moving. So here, there, there, there. Obviously, it's not a perfect sine wave, but it is a sine wave, you know. It's a little distorted, but it's still a sine wave. Look closer, you'll see right in the middle, another thingy going up and down. So as if it's, interpolating or interlapping with it. And another one going here, up and down, in the middle. And another one you can see here, going up and down, you know, right there. So you can see the sound, you know, you can kind of visually see it's not just made of just one sine wave. It is made out of different sections, you know, so mixed together to make that little sound. Also, which is the crucial element of this discussion. If you look at these, just take one chunk of it, for example. You might think that these are, you know, little dots on top. So you got dot here, dot there, dot. That's not the case. Each one of those will have or does have their own characteristics or their own story. So let's just pick on this line in here. So if I just zoom onto there, and you'll see each line of this is not really just a dot, right? These dots are made out of something. And that's what makes the sound up. So, in other words, if I look into, you know, pick something up in here, let's just move that slightly there. You can see it's a pattern, or you know, a few patterns repeating there. So you got one here, and keep repeating. Let's just pick these two are the same volume, same height. I mean, so here until there. And that one also there is good. So if I play that, I bet it'll sound like me. There. So what you need to make from this instrument or this sample is the following. So I'm just zoomed down to it. It does sound like me, right? but it's obviously it's a little bit robotic. Obviously, it's not clear, but if you consider it, it really does. See that? Okay. Obviously, you can add different breathing and different elements to it, but anyway. So, looking into that further deep, you can see the following. So we've got a kind of a sine wave going up, one part, and another part. There's another section with a few sine wave two sine waves in there distorted. A third part, another sine wave distorted in here. Another part, another sine wave distorted in there. Another part, another sine wave distorted in here. And there's a little sine wave in there. And that's it. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's pretty much what makes the sound up. So adding those 6 oscillations in there, so if you can make an equation that does that, and then add another equation that does this, and another equation that does this, and then that, and then that, then you could potentially generate my voice using exactly the visual that you're looking at. So play that again. Yeah, it's literally how the sound is made. So to touch on that, there are 4, we say 6 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 elements or 6 oscillations going on at the same time to make that sound. Even though you wonder, but there's only one person talking. How come we have 6 different oscillations? That's because obviously the sound is made out of vocal cords, and each vocal cord is responsible for doing one of those things, or a few groups of vocal cords, let's be specific. Obviously, I'm not a professional singer, but professional singers would be able to produce a lot more, sophisticated stuff than my humble voice in there. So you can see, eventually, by just looking at how this whole thing works, you could, if you can generate an equation mathematically to come up with that, then you're a genius, because obviously you can now create anything you like in sound wise. So that, I hope, kind of makes sense into how this whole thing works. Now the other bit is we need to talk about is the characteristics of each of those. So here we have that little, that hour wave. Obviously, if you think about it, that is a sine wave here, and then it's followed up by this sine wave in there, and it carries on. So if I just go back into here, so I got 1, 2, 3. It is a sine wave. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not. It's not a what's it called? A perfect sine wave. It's got that little distortion. And why is that? Is because that's, imagine you're trying to draw a sine wave. So if you have a pen, you got a paper, and you're trying to draw the sound wave like that. But if I were to create that modulation manually, let me explain that here. I think it might be a lot better. So we have a sine wave. So we're going to have a line and do this. That's our baseline, and this is time. And this is frequency or modulation, or let's just call time and intensity or value. In other words, just to make it in layman's terms. Okay. So if I have a sine wave, I would have like this. Okay, 2 cycles. So now the sine wave looks exactly like that. It's a perfect sine wave. But if someone said to me, I need to send data on that sine wave, I need to make my hand a little shaky to draw that sine wave later on. So to do this, I'm going to have to do the following. So if I do imagine I'm shaking my hand to do the exact same thing. So you see the green bit is the sine, which isn't, we're not going to see later on, or going to change into the red bit. And the red bit is what the modulation is. So that kind of, you know, the green is what carries the signal, or the carrier of the signal. And the red is literally my signal originally looks like that. Right? So this is modulated onto the green line. Is called modulation. So that's what frequency, the frequency modulation stands for. So as I'm going along, if I just do a pure sine wave, it'll sound flat. If I, or like this, if I do this here, like that, it'll sound slightly differently. And that's the bit you need to understand. So hopefully that kind of explains the sine wave and how the frequency modulation works. So back into our example. And as I explained to you on the board, the modulation of the frequency. So looking at that sine wave in here, you can definitely see it is a sine wave initially. That's the carrier, let's say. But the carrier is not made out of three, 1, 2, 3 dots in here. Not, bottom section, top section, and then other section. It's, imagine if you wanted to understand the modulation better. Imagine if someone asked you to draw a sine wave with your hand, but as you're trying to draw it, the signal is held up by your other hand like this. So someone is shaking your hand like this to make it differently. So when you're trying to draw the sine wave, your hand is, being shaken to draw something up. So the modulation is where your hand is kind of supposed to move. And the signal is actually carried on that carrier, is the vibration of that hand. So a sine wave, as you can see on this example, is coming up and down like this, but there is a little modulation to that sine wave, whereas is let's say someone is like hitting it on the head on that side, and then hitting it on the other side, and then backwards, and that thing is actually sticking up from there. So these are little changes. It may not show 100% on that section, but on that section it kind of does. So in here you'll be able to see, imagine if that was a one sine wave, or meant to come down and then up, then imagine that little shakiness. So you've got shakiness here, so that shake starts from here and then from there and then carries on to shake until it goes back to here. That is meant to go like this, but it's actually doing this. And that's the shakiness of it. So if you look into that here closer, you'll see that there as well. So that thing isn't really a sine wave, but it's actually a kind of a distorted sine wave. So some of it obviously might be taken off, eaten, added to, whatever. Is all the equations. So again, back to the vocal cords bit. If you study the vocal cords, or why the sample that of my just ah voice sound like that, there's a lot of factors to it. Why this thing is actually higher than that thing over here is the factors are, the air I'm actually supposed to exhale to make the sound, the vocal cords, what they're doing, how fast are they going at the time. Other factors like like the neck width, the neck height, the mouth, the lips, all that kind of stuff added together to make a different thing. And that's what makes the whole thing unique or deformed in a way to give it the characteristics that this is a Heider sounding like that. So I hope that that part kind of explained this part of the equation. And now we're going to jump into the montage, and to take this thing further so you can understand how you make your own sounds using the montage. And hopefully that would, we'll see how that's going to go. So now we've seen what the section does, or how the FM works. We'll start by making a new FM sound. So obviously go to category, and you'll see on the category, obviously, there are lots of things. You click init, and then from init you would select the FM-X. We did speak before about the AWM2, which is the sampling engine. We are not doing that today. We're doing the FM-X to make the sound. So enter. Now we have the screen. I'm going to change the view mode to have more tracks. I like it this way. Personal choice, you know, he does not have to do it. But yeah, so when we look initially at this, you see the following. So if I click, press a button, so I press a key, not a button, pressing A, you can see the sine wave there. So the sine wave is the basics of everything. So generally, on a lot of instruments, if not, well, I wouldn't say all, but in particular this instrument or Yamaha instruments, FM sound starts with a sine wave. And when you look into it, you see here stuff, and you try to, you see that screen, you know, loads of things happening at the same time, but it could be intimidating that you don't know where to start, you know, what to do. Yes, I have FM-X now, what am I else supposed to do with it? What you see in here is also, you see on the FM color section of it there. I hope this is recording. Hold on, is it recording or not? Yeah. Damn it, Windows Update kicking in at the wrong time. Hopefully it's not going to do an update now. Anyway, yes, so what it is, you see on the FM side, the FM color, a lot of parameters in there. You don't really know what to do, so changing any of them, you know, not going to make a huge difference. And you think, is that it? So let's start with the basics to begin with. Let's begin making a sound now. So when you first look into this, go to edit. So click on the edit button here, or you can go obviously go to the thingy and then click edit there from the screen. Now what you see, if you see part 1, which is what we selected here in blue, and you've got the common. If you don't see common, make sure you are on common. You probably be on OP1, OP2, or 3, whatever it is. Make sure you select common there. And when you select common, you probably be in part settings, and you need to go to FM-X settings, because that's the bit we're going to actually work on. So what you can see here is the little building of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the building blocks. And what you can see here is the algorithm section. So algorithm 69. Why 69? Don't ask me. I have nothing to do with it. It's like, would you like a 69? Yes, please. Anyway. Right, so what you can do in here, so 69 algorithm they start with. And obviously, if you change that here, you can change it there. You can see it on both screens. But the bit I really don't get from Yamaha is I can change it in here on the algorithm side, but on the other side in here, on that screen, the control section, so the FM color, that button or that knob is not assigned to change this thing. And why is that? I have absolutely no idea. Maybe there's an update later on, maybe it's a bug, maybe something forgot about it. You know, I don't want to say the word bug here, but it is, I mean, it's just left loose. So it would be nice to have it assigned there somewhere. So, what you see on that screen now, you see the 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4. How it works with the FM side is when you, what we said about the video earlier, you have a sine wave and you have things to make the sine wave change a little bit, or you have the drawing, the shakiness of the hand, how to change it. So we're going to pick that up now. If you look into this thing, you see 8, 6, 7, 5 and then 4, 3, 2, 1 from that perspective. And when you try to play something, if I play with these knobs in here, the volume levels, nothing will change. I don't see any changes. It makes no difference. Why? Is literally because algorithm 69 have number 4 and number 8 at the bottom side, and this is what the beginning of the sine wave. So you can see when you first power up the instrument or select FM-X, you see the lights of the sliders are like this always. So 8 is up and the rest is actually down. So if I turn 8 down all the way, nothing happens, which is good, exactly what we want. So, I think 69 to start somewhere is not a good example for me to pick that up. So what I'll do actually, I'll move to algorithm 66. And why is that? Is because when you have number 8 as the master, as a feeder, as the beginning or the essence of the sine wave, 8 is the carrier, or it's called the 8 the carrier, exactly. And whatever comes on top of it is a modulation to that carrier, and which will make sense now in a second. So what you can see it visually here. So why am I selecting that here? Is if I select number 66 to begin with, exit that. The reason I exit is I want you to show you on the oscilloscope here. So first of all, the oscilloscope is quite high, so I'm going to reduce level 8 a bit down. So that's the beginning of it. Second of all, see those knobs? Just take them all down, all of them. Just keep 8, right? So now with 8, notice and compare with the video we did, with the part we did earlier. So if I just slightly increase 7, see the sine wave changing. So I go high, top, or low. So if I go slightly there, I'm changing the characteristics of call it the midsection. So there. So do this. Now that's one thing. Now you can see we are starting to produce some sound. And the next bit is the next oscillator. Why am I picking up algorithm 66? Because every time you go somewhere, the output of whatever sound you hear is fed into the other slider, which is a good thing to actually learn how FM works or FM-X works. So if I keep holding that key and increase now, started with 6 now. See, gently. We already have a nice... Well, if I had reverb and stuff, it will be nice, but that's the first thing we do. As you can see, we've done almost nothing. Let's just keep it simple. So you're going to do like this here, just to keep visually simple so I can see what's going on. Hold the A key again, increase number 5. It sounds like clarinet. But you see the characteristics now. So look at the sine wave. One part is jagged, the other part is smooth. So we're going to go on number 4 now. I like that, but I'm going to take it down a bit, just visually to demonstrate what's going on. Keep it like that. So if I do this slightly down, reverse it, just reversing it. Now we're going to go on 3. Let's do even, and then number 2. And then number 1 finally. Yeah, it's okay, it's whatever, but what I mean by that is, it's nice, it's not great sound so far yet. So now, to tune this further, we're gonna go back and look into the initial stuff we're sending through and just do a little bit more tuning, and I'll explain that second. So now, don't want to lift it too high. Too sharp. See, there's no rules. You know, it's how you like to hear it. Yeah, that's good. I mean, we started with a basic sine wave, and I'll just put that for the reference. So I'm just going to turn off the keyboard here, click on number 8, have another FM-X there, just so that you hear the difference, and I'm going to click OK there. So on 8, just turn the keyboard off as well. We started with this, and with 1, we're not done yet. So that's a nice sound. It's not brilliant yet because we can add a lot of salt and pepper to it. So now this is a good starting point. On the FM color screen, there's 3 knobs in there: FM depth, harmonics, and then texture. It's call it like the secret sauce or the more additional, I don't know, feedback or spices, whatever you call it. But notice when I change these, what happens. So I'm just going to keep holding up the sine wave, so the signal to see it. And I'm going to play with the FM depth now. Yeah, that looks really ugly, doesn't it? But hold on. So that the depth of the FM is how deep the changes are affecting the sound of the sine wave. You know, the default is 0 obviously, and you can see that, but if the more you add, the more intense or annoying can be. So that's one thing. Harmonics, now look at this. Harmonics here may not make a difference, may not sound, you know, a huge difference. Texture. Now, see the texture there? Do you see the sine wave? How is it changing? You can tell there's a sine wave there, but it's not, you know, that little, you know, the holding hand thing to make changes to the sound. You see that there on the texture. And this is where the modulation happens. So if I go back to 0, maybe put it to 3, 1 is fine. Yeah, no, not -5. Yeah, that reminds me of Neo in the Matrix. You take the blue pill, you go somewhere. You take the red pill, you go to the rabbit hole. And he takes the blue pill, I think it was, and then It goes like that. Anyway, it's fine. Anyway, so yeah. You see the sine wave now? It is a sine wave, but look, the characteristic of it is different. Some parts are different than the other, and some parts, you know, depending on the intensity. So we're going to go back to the texture 0, just to bring it back to what we created initially. Right, so now we've got these things done. I'm going to keep that sound, but I'm going to add a little bit spices to it so that you can see the difference after we apply some effects and stuff. I know there is oscillator. I'm not going to talk about that yet. I'm going to save it to the next sound. So pitch, amplitude here. First I want to release it slightly less. Now hear that. Add a little sustain. Put it to 10, that's fine. Yeah. Right, so that's one side. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to add a little reverb. So see how nice this is. So I'm going to change it to show you the original sound. What? Now this one. Now also the vibration of the sound. So when the sound as you hold the key, you want it to like dun and then dun, like this. So watch this. Speed. So I go amp mod. That's the modulation, see that? Let's keep that to low volume, low values. Let's keep it to 10 for now. And then I'm going to do the speed as I said. So speed here. Do you hear that? Yeah, 33 is fine. I want to have it higher. So that's good. Now, I don't want that vibration to begin at the beginning, so I'm just going to give it to, you know, a little bit wait until it happens. So I want to press and then it vibrates. And this is where the delay comes in. So notice the graphics on the sound. I think 50 is good. Right. So this is beautiful. I actually really like that sound. Yeah, anyway. So that is good so far. we're gonna add an effect to it now. So if I go to effects in here, at the moment is through. Obviously through means there's no effect. So I'm gonna change it to yeah, that's good. Now you can see the intensity of the sound's gone really exponential with all the pepper we added there. So you can do, because 8 is the beginning of the modulation, we can just turn 8 a little bit down. What's this? We didn't turn the volume down, just the modulation, the essence of the wave. And you can see it on the screen now. So if I just turn it back up again. Or you can turn the effect off, just to compare it. Back on again. If you are into equalizing and stuff, click FX again here, and you'll see this equalizer. I'd like my curve to be like this, so I can, you know, show the bass and treble more than the mid-tones. I like it like this, and I'll show you that now. So if I just do this, just go up, and before the last, up also, do the separation and the midsection down. Yeah, this is beautiful. Yeah, so now we created the first, I mean, it really sounds like a high quality sound now. Just to remind you again, here's the original thing we started with. It's not even recognizable anymore. Go back to the one we created. Oh yeah. Just maybe a little bit release adding to that. Oh yeah. So, sound number 1 we created. You can store that, so we obviously can store here, and then, you know, as a new performance, we'll just call it YouTube YT. Wish the space was a bit longer. YT what strings we call it, whatever you like to. So strings SDR1 01. Okay, or let's just call it HS instead, not YouTube. HS STR01. Yeah, good. I'm happy with that. Okay, so now, as you can see, we've created the first nice high quality sound. But playing with all the stuff, you can create different sounds as well. So if I, you know, copy that. I'll copy the sound and change it and see how difference it'll make. So if I just click on this guy here and then I say copy, and I want to copy it to part number 2. So now we have 2 parts. So obviously they both sound the same. So if I go to part number 2, this time I'm going to edit the oscillator section and show you exactly what the differences are. Oscillator in here, you've got the operators of the thing. It would make a ton more sense if I start again with a just a little blank so you can see the differences in the waveform. So what I'll do, I'll just copy number 8 to number 7 in here. So 8, copy to number 7. There we go. So now we are on 7. That's the original sound, right? And if I were to play with number 8 in here, so let's just do that now. Operator 8, as we said, we're starting with 8. The reason I'm doing this, I want you to watch the oscilloscope. And yeah, so going back to 1. So here I'm holding this, and I'm going to change the operator. Ah, just what I want. Where we are? Yeah, so what we're doing, go back to number 1. Okay, remember what we said about the frequency changes when in a box of in a box of time, when you have more changes within the same box, you know, it will give you a higher frequency, because obviously there's a lot of things happening within the same box, so it's a higher frequency thing. And if we do a less change, like we saw on the video earlier, it would sound different. So that reflected exactly on this example. That's why I picked up on the you know, call it the virgin sine wave. So if I do this again, so if I just hold the sine wave now on A, and if I just slightly gradually increase operator 8, watch what happens to the sine wave. Hear the sound as well. See? That's a higher frequency. Yeah. Do you see that now? We've gone way past. So now, it's kind of like we're taking the wave, the sine wave, and we increase we kind of transpose it, you know, 12 octaves higher. That's the original. That's the one we just did now. And that's exactly why I wanted to show you this example on that sine wave. To just explain to you operators, what they do. So operators will they have a different thing. They will actually increase the application of that sine wave, or the frequency for the sine wave, to give different results. So for this example, let's go back into the number 2 we just did. It sounds nice, but if I take number 2, if I take 8 and apply the same thing we just did, hear that? I found increasing it by 0.5 gives you the same tuning, so or tone, or close to it basically. That's the original. That's the one we created first time. That's the one we just changed the operator for. I mean, it's not hugely different, but you can tell it's actually different. So if I go back to 1, sounds like strings. This one sounds like belly kind of thing, you know, bells and whistles and stuff. Now, here is where things become really, really interesting. So now we have changed the characteristics of the initial waveform. So just wanted to clarify that again. If I turn 8 down, nothing comes out. If I turn it up, we hear sound. So we applied operator to number 8, but because the other ones, they have all operators against them, so they all kind of have different operators acting to change the parameters of the sound. So when we change the speed of each one and how it actually applies to the sound, it makes a huge difference. Watch this. So if I'm going to start with number 7. Sounds like Qanun. Look into the original one. This is the one we just edited. And if I start applying gradually to the other parameters as well. Before I do that, let me just turn the intensity of the oscillation that goes on to 7 down a bit. Yeah, just a bit, cooling it down. Now we're going to pick up on FX number 6, or operator 6. Here is what I really, really don't like about the knobs and how they work. You can see now, when I said earlier, if I wanted to do a gradual increment, a very fraction of the increment, a very small amount of the increment, I have to press the shift key, right? And it's impractical for me to hold the key, hold the shift, and trying to do the knob at the same time. So it would be nice to have an option somewhere within the settings to say, actually, yeah, how would you like the knobs to work, the increments? Slowly or in reverse. I mean, maybe there's something, but I have not seen it. If anyone knows where that function or thingy is, then let me know. But I doubt it's there. What I mean by that is, I want to change, when I turn the knob down, I just want to hear the sound and change the knob gradually and you know, in a calm way, so that I can really hear and think of what the sound is doing, rather than just worried about, oh damn, I actually turn it really too quick. Watch this. I'm just do it again. So this call here. So I'm just, watch my finger. I'm not doing loads, you know, heavy movements. Look at this. As opposed to holding the shift key like that, and now I have to use my index finger or the other finger, or the middle finger, to get that 0.5 difference there. Anyway, comparing to the previous one we created, look, this is the new one. They're close, but they're not the same. They're a bit close, so we're just going to keep turning the knobs down. Now I don't want to put too much of that. Anyway, so that's the second sound. Now, we could change the sound into also a third type of sound which totally sound different. And as you can see now, we started with algorithm 66 because I wanted to have one generator and then all the others will modulate on top of it to create a different sine wave, a different shape. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to start another sound completely different from scratch. So do that now. Click there. Init mate, and then FM-X, and then OK. This time we're going to edit the sound, and we're not going to change check algorithm 69. What we're going to do is work with another algorithm that has slightly different things. Actually, you know what? Let's keep it default. Let's work with algorithm 69, and I'll take you through it and see exactly how it works. So 69, you got two stacks in there. So 8 and the 4 should really sound the same when I turn either of them on, and then 3, 7 would modulate 4 and 8 respectively. 2 and 6 would modulate 3 and 7, and 1, 5 will. Let me say that in slow motion. Pick one stack only. So we're going to talk about 8 only in here. So if you have 8 on, then 7 and 6 and 5 would modulate whatever 8 is doing. But in either for 6 to work, 7 has to be up. And in either for 5 to work, 6 has to be up, etc. So one has to feed into the other. If one of them is shut down, it's not going to work. So let's pick this one up, and I'm going to go into it now. So enter this one. Yeah, that's fine. And then let's do exit. We're back into the basics. Okay. So as I said before, you see the knobs, turn them all down. All of them. No sound. Good. That's the starting point. So now if I wanted to start 8, I hear the tone. And if I also turn 8 down, start 4 up, should be exactly the same. And it does. So now what that means is I have, rather than creating one big huge set to make one sound, I've now got two separate oscillations going on, mixed together to give me a different thing. So now we'll start with 8, pick that up. And now we'll modulate in the exact same way. So I'll do this. Notice this time. Sounds like accordion, roughly, doesn't it? Let's play with this stuff. Yeah, I like that. That's good enough. So now I'm going to pick number 4. I'm going to turn 8 down now. Cut the sound off, and I'm going to work with 4 only this time. So 4 and the rest of them. So 4, and then increase 3, 2, and then 1. No, it's too sharp. I don't want it too sharp. The oh boy, it's called, that's an oh boy sound. So it's going to mix it up with the. Yeah, I like that. Comparing to the first one I created, that's the second one. Yeah, it's nice but a bit bland. Let's just spice it up a bit. So now, we'll work with the FM color, and now you'll see a huge difference going on. Yeah, let's just reduce that a bit down. Fine, 60 is okay. Now we'll spice it up a bit. Amplitude, go into the reverb. And then give it a little release. Wow, see that? A bit too much release, maybe a little bit less. Actually, that would sound really nice with a chorus. So, into effects, and change it through to let's play with the effects and see what comes up. I'll show you that. Turn it off, and then on. Yeah, I don't like that. Tremolo is not my favorite, no. Yeah, guitar. Distortion. Turn it off. On. Yeah, there's not a difference. Anyway, let's go back into chorus. No. Why did I lose chorus now? Yeah, there we go. G chorus. Bit too loud, let's just turn a bit down. Number 4. That's good, 8. You see that? Now, really nice, good quality sound. You've got more effects. Let's go into the frequency balancing again. Yeah, that bit is to do with the FM color. Maybe too much oscillator. Let's take it down a bit to 50. You get the idea. So let's go to 55. Yeah. Everybody. Anyway, yeah, so that is good. Let's compare again. First sound. Second sound. Third sound. Right. Okay, so now we created 3 sounds. Let's just create a fourth one. and then also init mate, FM-X, and then enter. And this time, I'm going to slightly rant about something. Right, so you can now see what we created. First of all, let me just store things up in case we have a crash come in, just in case. Right, so storing things up, good. Always store things up. Right, so now on number 4. The reason 4 is sounding like the old one is because those 2 keyboards are up. So just turn them off when you work with them. Store again. Yes, yes. And now we're back into this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So now we're at 4. So number 4, what we're going to do is I'm going to start with another algorithm now. Let's pick that up. So I'm going to edit and algorithm. So I'm going to just go back to the beginning and look into. You see, there's a lot of different algorithms there. They're like Lego pieces. You can assemble them how you like. But I know it's nice. I mean, that reminds me of the DX7 initially when it used to be. So anyway, that's a good one. What I wanted to talk about now is, well, the rant is all about, is when you go back to comment in here, when you are working with the Montage or this M release, right? The problem, which you may not be seeing, is that even though this instrument is sold as a sound making engine, and everything primarily about is making the sound. However, when I'm looking at the screen they introduced on that side, which is a really good screen, I can only see FM color and OSC, which is oscillator, and I can change the operators and the intensity of the operators only. But what I'm missing is the elements of each of those operators. For example, if I go into common and go to OP1, for example, notice in here I cannot see hold, attack, decay, DK2, release, attack, decay, blah, 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 on that screen. I don't know if it's possible or not. I know it is. Should be possible because all the other screens are in the same concept. Now, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's something I don't know. Maybe there's an update coming up. I have no idea. But what I don't really get is why on earth we have that here on that screen, but not on that screen. That's one side of the rant. The other side is, fair enough, you don't want to put it on that screen, not a problem. The issue with that is, although this is, well, it's a sound making engine, nicely you have the oscilloscope here. When I play something I can see it, but while I'm trying to make the sound up, I no longer see it. So click edit, it's not on that screen. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, it would be really nice to have that oscillator on that screen as well, so I can see when I'm tweaking the sound. For example, I wanted to add an attack or hold or cutting off, that sort of stuff to the sound. It would be nice to see that included over here. So that's my rant about this. And yeah, I mean, apart from that, it is really, really good. It's really nice. It's just intuitive. I hope my video, kind of helps you to understand the FM synthesis and how FM is working on this instrument. So I'm pretty sure once you got a grip of it, you'll be able to make a super duper sound of your own liking. There's no doubt there. So anyway, let's just focus on the other side of it now. So what we're doing now in this section is creating our 4 oscillators. Again, we're going to take everything down, as we said. And according to this, 2, 4, and 6, and 8 should sound the same. Let's try that. 2, 4, 6, and 8. Good. So now we're going to exit this one and then focus on that one. So 2, yeah, good, 2, and then we modulate 2, I'm going to turn it down so that you can focus on the sine wave. So that's that sound, okay? Now I'm going to play with the oscillators a bit. So not with the original, the original carrier. I'm going to play with the modulated output. So the modulator in here, which is number 1. So 2 is the source, remember, and then 1 is what modulated into. So let's just play with the OP here. So just going to press here, change OP1. Another bell sound. So now we're going to add number 4 to it. Do you see the waveform now? See what we talked about in the video earlier, how the waveform is kind of modulated. So now mixing 4 and 2 and then modulating 1, 2 separately and then modulating 4 separately, you can see the output result. It's starting to make more sense now. So we're going to modulate. We're going to start with number 3. Yeah, good. Okay, so now we'll also add 6. Right, and modulate 5. So you can see 5 is a little dirty now. We'll take it a bit down. We'll compare it to the others. Compare it to the original one. And we just used 3 out of 4. We could use the 4th one, but I'm not, Actually, let's use the 4th one, but this time we're going to modulate the source, and I'll show you the difference now. So 4, coming up. And this time we're going to modulate the source of it. Too loud. Sorry, that was my son. Okay. It's a nice bassy one. And now, let's add some salt and pepper. Before we carry on, FM color, if you really want to, that's up to you, but the sound is good as it is. Let's do the spices first. So we're gonna do amplitude and then we go into the reverb. And then release it. You can turn the volume down by just using here the amplitude as well. So volume. This is not the source volume, this is the volume after mixing. So this is the part volume, not the element volume. Now, this one, you can see that little high tone, high note, is actually quite, you know, too strong for the ears. Like, ee. Let's turn that down with the effects one. So if I go into here, and this time the frequency, I'm going to reverse it. So the high frequency. Let's do that now. Do that bassy bit more. That's the sweet spot. We can turn the volume back in again. Yeah, that's good. Now we'll add the modulation, amp mod, speed. Delay. Yeah, that's a really good sound. Beautiful. So I think save, store this there. Good. So I really hope that my video today did kind of help in terms of how you create your own sounds, FM high quality sounds. Just to recap, take you back to the ones we created. So the first one, do. The second one. Third one. Fourth one. And the original one. Yes. So that is, you know, as you can see, the sounds are nice here. There are other things we can do. I nearly forgot to show you in this video. This is what I ranted about initially. So let's just go back into edit mode. And I'll explain that here. So you know when you press something and you like a comes up and then, or the other way around, we can actually achieve the same effect in here. So let's pick the first song, the first one we, the fourth one we did, because that's got the 4 oscillators. Yes. So now let's look into operator number 2, which is a source operator. Yeah. And in this time, notice on the frequency, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the frequency low, bump it up a bit, then come down again. Watch this. See that little dot is coming up there. See the difference? A bit too fast, let's just slow it down. There are other characteristics you can add to the sound, so a level. How deep you want that. So in here, see that 99, we can turn that down. you have the end of it, as we saw earlier when we went into the amplitude and did the LFO delay and speed. Here you can set up how the thing actually builds up, and also how it actually, you know, dies down as well. So all that is here. There's a lot of parameters in there to change. One more thing to mention as well is the frequency of that. So let me take 2 down and then go into 4. Yeah, so let's edit 4 now. So operator 4. 4 there. 4. That's it. So this time we're going to change the sine wave into an odd one, and then add skirt to it. See, it kind of gives that depth. Let me turn that thing number 2 down so you can hear this. You can also do stuff like detuning if you like. Yeah. So 5 is good. Back into 2. To be honest, it's how you like it. You know, I've just shown you now all the parameters that you need to edit the sound and to, well, do some basic effects, I would say. And it's up to you really to see what exactly you like to do. But as you can see, the instrument is massive. It is a beast, and I really like it. Again, apologies for not posting on the Montage for a long time. I have been really busy, and I've got, I would say, life-changing projects going on. I might have to travel for a long time outside, and then see how that's going to go. I might take this whole thing with me to the new place I'm going to. I don't know if it's going to be working or not. But anyway, it's all kind of in discussions at the moment. Yeah, anyway, so let's just not go there. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day. See you later.